What is going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for an impromptu live stream Q&A. I have no specific topic to discuss. I have a hard out at around 9 p.m., but I had 30 to 40 minutes to kill, and I figured, why not? So, chat, however many of you are in there, whatever you guys want to talk about, the floor is yours. Sports cards, non-sports cards, whatever. Hit me with whatever you got. I will, don't mind the mess that is the desk, because it is a disaster. I am in the middle of sorting through Marvel stuff. I have stuff, sports card stuff, getting ready to ship out. The whole thing is a lot happening here. So put the camera up just in case I needed to show something. So let me take a look at chat. Which is, Chad, that's a funny statement because I dabble in comics. I've bought some graded ones. It scares the living hell out of me to even think about grading a comic book. The concept is beyond me. The fact that cleaning and pressing is a whole thing with comics, when in cards, that would get your card kicked out of, getting kicked as altered if you did that. So that's a funny comparison because I would never even dream to think about grading a comic book. So hopefully you did your homework though, because you just don't want to throw money at PSA to get bad grades back. Let's talk Marvel. I'm down for whatever you guys want to chat about. Whatever you guys have questions about, fire away. Low population count modern basketball is the main thing I am looking to buy. I love podcasts, and I am obviously grading Marvel stuff. Those are probably the two biggest things I am looking at right now. I am also strongly considering diving. Well, I've already started researching. I am planning on digging in deeper into graded comic books. I think, even though the graded comic book market's already gone nuts, I think it's the next thing to super pop off. Bobby B, I have care zero about DC cards. I am not a DC guy. I'm a Marvel guy. Sure, they'll go up because Marvel's going up. They do not have the ceiling of Marvel. Marvel's the largest IP in the world. I don't know what I'm doing with the G.I. Joe box yet. It's still sitting behind me. It is listed on eBay at a very high price just to see if I got any offers roll in. I have not decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I am not sending any cards to HGA at the moment. I need to see more data on them before I throw money at them. That's me learning my lesson from grading with SGC last year when they were the too hot to trot new kid on the block. So I'm gonna wait and see approach with HGA. I am curious. I like some of the stuff I've seen. I don't like some of the other stuff I've seen. I think vintage Star Wars cards, PSA slab guy, will continue to go up and up, specifically the 77 blue bordered set seems to be the one that everyone's jonesing for. Star Wars and Marvel to me are the two safest bets. This stuff's going to come down at some point in time. These prices aren't sustainable. Maybe 77 Star Wars because there's not sealed boxes of those laying around. But I would be perfectly fine throwing money at 77 Star Wars. J-Rod, and just in general, the way I'm approaching Marvel is I am buying stuff to grade. I am not looking to buy already graded stuff. So I don't know that I would chase graded Series 1 stickers like that. Sorry, if I'm not talking, it's because I'm reading questions. I don't know what you mean by grading is slowed down and so have the prices. OKC, John. I do not like RJ Barrett. I'm pretty far out on that limb. I made multiple videos before the NBA season started talking about how I sold every RJ Barrett that I owned. And I feel pretty good about that decision. Was it graded? Boy, Jared, selling Kobe to buy modern is always dicey, but I have an NBA video coming tomorrow talking about how I think money is going to start moving from the GOATs to the modern. I would have personally probably maybe tried to sell something else, but I do like Tatum and Mitchell for the run. There's a million group subs, Red Sox Nader for PSA. PCP Sports Cards, I think is what it is probably the largest and the best. I personally use Card Collector 2 in Columbus because I could drop off to them in person. It's not close to me, but it's within reasonable enough driving distance for as often as I sub that I can send through them. Boy, if starting lineups pop off, we have seen it all. I think the graded cards out of there could do well, but I would specifically stick to first year stuff and specifically like the GOATs of the GOATs, like Jordan and stuff. Oh, Ronald, I bet when you set that PSA sub, you did not think you were going to get upcharged on Marvel stuff. They could hit you. You never know. Thank you very much, Kennison. Yeah, I mean, Ronald, I get it. Graded comics have already gone crazy, but I don't know that the Eye of Sauron that is the sports card market has turned its eye there yet. And if they start dabbling in comic book cards, it doesn't take many people to make the natural leap to move into chasing graded comics for that market to already go more crazy. I know nothing about UFC stuff, JB. I mean, I know who Connor McDavid is, but that is not my realm. I don't disagree. I could see a 77 Star Wars card popping off. I'm gonna sleep on DC. I honestly am, Alex. Like I just, but that's more goes to collect what you love, and I don't love DC. I love Marvel. I've loved Marvel my entire life, all the way back to a kid. Sure, I went 30 years without touching the cards, but I collected comic books forever. Not hardcore, but I stayed current on like modern comic stories and stuff. I've never been a DC guy, so I'm not sending anything to PSA unless I can think it can 10 MP perk or M perk 08. It looked like SGA was actually in a price dip last I looked, but I've liked what I've seen out of him. SGA for the Thunder is a guy I'm going to be looking to buy in the off season if he dips. I love the Australian guys. What's up, Global Sports Investor? I do not have any thoughts on Project 70. Sorry, Ryan. I just don't think Kobe's ever going to go down, Brian. Like I don't. I just don't see the Kobe market straight crashing. Buying ungraded cards to buy low slash sell high. I mean, that's the one of the best ways to grind out a profit in this game if you're just starting out. The problem is grading is getting so expensive and is so backed up, it makes it really hard. Like it makes it extremely difficult. You know, like in the late fall, I would make tons of videos about like if I had $100 in the NBA market, like here's what I would do. Like go buy like these specific cards, spend X amount of dollars to grade them, and then flip them for this price. That's so hard to do with the inflated PSA grading prices and the lull in how long it takes to get stuff back from grading. I try ILO podcast. It's just lives are rough depending on the schedule. So, like I said, I had 30 minutes tonight, and I'm like, let's pop on and let's do this. Sorry if I missed questions. I'm just trying to scroll through chat as fast as possible. I think it was 88 PSA slab guy for starting lineup, but definitely check my math on that. Uh, Reservoir Sports Cards, yes. The price movement by card chart is Pro only. I use it all the time. I love the price movement by card chart. It's probably the one that I spend the most time on. To me, starting lineups, it's more for grading the card inside the starting lineup than it is the starting lineup itself, to be quite honest with you. Jason Young, regarding X-Men boxes, all Marvel boxes have flooded the market. I mean, word got out that these things were hot. Everyone dug into their closets and threw them on eBay, so the market got flooded. I'm actually surprised the prices have maintained this much, and it's not surprising that there's a ton of 92 X-Men floating around out there. Um, but if you look at, like, I had the numbers the other day, and I don't have them in front of me now. More Marvel 90 MU boxes sold in like the last 14 days than have sold in like the last 2 months combined. So it's like wild and crazy out there with the inventory. Now, what I'm curious on what happens is, what happens when that stuff all gets bought up. So like in 30 days from now, and then this is more specifically 90 MU. Like, what does the 90 MU sealed wax prices look like? Like, they spiked up to over $3,000. They're back down to 2,000 now. And I could see them maybe coming down a little bit more, but once inventory levels out on that, I will be curious to see where it goes. PSA 10 Sesame Street cards about to take off. At this point in time, PSA anything from when you were a kid and fill in the blanks, like play the PSA 10 Mad Libs, I would not be surprised if it takes off. I'm not touching Drummond. I mean, Trout's one of the goats of baseball, so I don't think you could go very wrong with it. No, I don't touch vintage. I don't do much baseball, period. I need to see a lot out of HGA before I touch them. The SI for kids cards go for a ton of money. The Tony Hawk, I think, on a PSA slab just sold for an astronomical sum. No, I don't think LeBron drops. I think LeBron levels out and maybe comes down a little bit, but we're not seeing a crater on LeBron. There's too much money tied up into it. Um, HGA 9.5 slabs going for more than PSA 10 slabs. I need to see a lot more data on that. I understand that it's happening, but like, and I'm not saying that this is happening. I mean, market manipulation runs wild as it is, but if you were just starting out HGA's grading company, wouldn't you really make sure that they sold for good prices? Just saying. Like, I'm not saying that that's happening, but like, it, especially with as many that are out there, there's not a lot on the market. It would be very easy to manipulate that market. The Deadpool rookie card, I will be curious to see how that shakes out. If I had one, I do have one actually. I bought a copy of X Force #1 the other day. Let me pull this screen out so I can see my camera. I was hoping this was going to be clean enough to grade. It is not, I don't think. It's got a little line at the bottom of it here, a little tiny crease, and one of the corners looks a little soft. It might be able to PSA 9. So I'll probably send it in something at like a lower, slower rate and get it back in a year. I still think the one most people are going to end up wanting is the 92 X-Men one when it all shakes out, but I've been wrong before. I don't think jumbo cards are going to take off. It's just not like standard. Ben Simmons is up 30% in the last 7 days, so they're not sleeping on him anymore. That's a tough one on the Jordan. I would do a ton of research on that before I cracked a Jordan. Yeah, the problem with all that stuff, MPerk, right now is actually getting cards back from PSA or any grading company for that matter. Yeah, I think a lot of people are overpaying for HGA slabs because they just want to get one in their hands and see what it feels like. I think the golden investment for 40 million is just more vindication that the collectibles market is not going anywhere anytime soon. That's a lot of smart people throwing large sums of money at the largest auction house in the country, if not the definitely the country. Um, that just validifies that this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. No, you have to be pro to get price movement by card. Most of the good, I don't want to say most of the good stuff, but a lot of the good stuff is pro. And for people that don't know what they're talking about, it's market movers, which I have up on the screen here. I just threw this up just to have it up in case someone had a question on something and I needed to dive in. I don't know that we're seeing an Olympics anytime soon. Regarding the GI Joe stuff, Ronald, I think that's a smart play. I would honestly just send that at the cheapest sub level and get it back in like a year. Um, at like $12 a card to grade those, that's fairly low risk if you think you're pulling tens. Like even if you get them back and say the market never develops for that, like I feel like you'll be able to get $50 for a PSA 10 Snake Eyes. You know what I mean? But I don't know that I'd be paying like $50 to $75 a card in a complete spec market for those. I mean, regarding how high the market could go, I don't know. People are dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars on cards left and right. I talk about it in the NBA video that I made tomorrow. Like I've been watching a lot of Sasha T's stuff on YouTube. He's really good. But he did a video from like the Dallas Card Show, and like those guys are on a completely different level than me. They're flipping cards so fast at like a show, like from one table to the next, that are the prices of like nice cars. That's like just insane to me that happened. Like I get that's out there, but they're like flipping Kobe autos, like 40, 50K Kobe autos, like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like that's just insane to me to even think that. Like I like I got a Giannis 9.5 back there that goes for a couple grand. Like that's probably one of my most highest valued cards that I have. I don't have a lot of super high end stuff, and they're just like slinging 40K cards around like it's nothing. Just blows my mind. The thing about Tatum and Brown is they're both actually pretty low pop count. Anything pre 18 has a very low population count. Go look at like Tatum and Mitchell, their population count compared to Ja and Luca and Trey, and it looks minuscule compared to um, Mitchell and Tatum. And Browns are even lower. The further you go back, the lower that they get because it just wasn't as popular. But yeah, Tatum does not have astronomical population counts. I have a Tatum PSA 10. It's pretty low. 86 Fleer is always going to be the gold standard. There's nothing's going to change that. I am not big in general on non QB players, and I am not big in general in quote unquote investing in football. When someone says investing in a card, to me, that makes me think you're looking to hold it for a while. I view football completely as quick flips, like I explained in that video the other day. I want to buy football and sell it basically within a few months. I do not want to carry football into season. But I do think you can make money flipping position players. I'll be curious to see how the market pans out for that because a lot of people got burned by that last year. That was all the hype before football season started last year, was that the position players were finally going to have value because of the DFS angle, and it really just didn't happen. But I would target like just the normal trendy guys, Saquon, DK Metcalf, Nick Chubb, but I would not carry them in the season. Way too much injury risk. I mean, buying raw to grade, Derek, is one of the best ways to go about it in terms of making money, but it is so hard right now with the turnaround times. So that would be like a very long term, like you'd have to have a lot of money laying out there for long periods of time, unless you're paying $50 a card or like $30 a card through a group submitter. You know, longer the days of like $20 a card to get it back in 5 months. You know, you could send stuff off at the end of football season to get it back before football season starts for $20 a card. You're not doing that now. So it's larger risk because you're paying more for the grading and there's no guarantee you're going to get it back in time to sell for the peak window. Like if you grade a bunch of football stuff and you don't get it back in time for the start of the season and the season starts and those guys get hurt, you're screwed. But I do still think that it's 100% viable. It's one of the easiest ways to make profit. I would highly doubt that 3 standalone. I don't like a lot of the things I've been seeing out of HGA, which every grading company has their issues, but like your first week out of the gates, like there's slips with mislabeled stuff, like things not spelled correctly. There's one where the slip's falling off, or the flip rather. There's like a McGuire floating around, which once again, I could pull up a billion examples of PSA cards that got grades they don't deserve. But there was a McGuire floating around. There was a corner ding that looked pretty nasty, and it got like a 9.5 on corners, and it should have got like a 7 on corners. I'm not saying they're not good, but I just don't have a good feel for. I don't know enough about them yet to send them a bunch of cards. And like I said, this is me coming at it from the angle of I fell into this very trap with SGC last year. Like I was all aboard the SGC bandwagon, and I learned my lesson the hard way, and I'm not doing that again. So I'm going to let HGA play itself out, and I'm going to stick with PSA because they bring the most, and I just don't see that changing anytime soon. I'm at the point now. Sorry, I don't know how to say your name. TOSEK, your EKC. I really have transitioned out of the raw game as much as possible, and I'm only buying already graded stuff and flipping already graded. I mean, I have stuff out at PSA because I have a backlog of crap that I need to grade, but I've really transitioned over to mostly all graded stuff. Zion is definitely heating up. There was an NBA video dropping tomorrow morning that I talk about the modern market, and he is definitely creeping up. I dabbled in Top Shot, sold everything that I had, made about $600 or $700. I'm just waiting so I can withdraw. I'm not. I don't. Top Shot weirds me out. I don't understand it. I know nothing about him, Chris 83, but like I said earlier, if you're between 35 and 45 and there was some type of card from your childhood and you could get it in a PSA 10, it's probably going to go up in value. First off, MPerk, I would never rip boxes. If you're spending money on boxes, just buy singles. That's I'm going to change my golden rule for you and completely change your approach. Don't rip boxes. At least sports cards. I assume you're talking sports cards. So if you're talking sports cards, do not rip wax. It is a loss leader 9 times out of 10. Marvel cards are different, especially the older stuff, because the checklists are so small. You know, if you open a box of 90 MU, you're going to open 30 to 40 key characters / cards. It's just a matter of whether or not they come out in a good enough shape. Starstock got hit hard with COVID and it really screwed him up at a bad time. I'm still a believer in Starstock. I'm not comparing SGC to HGA in regards to like reputability. I'm comparing it to the hype beast that got behind SGC last spring, just like it's getting behind HGA now, and it burned a ton of people. It has nothing to do with how long each company has been around for. Top Shot's either going to be the next big thing, or we're all going to look. One of two things is going to happen. You're either going to look back and be like, "Oh my god, I was an idiot. Why didn't I do more Top Shot?" Or I'm going to look back and go, "Man, thank God I didn't touch Top Shot." I don't think there's going to be an in between. I do think. I mean, there's a really good chance the Pelicans miss the playoffs. The West is the Wild West, literally. Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe are the goats of goats. At some point in time, their cards are going to stop going up, but I don't see them cratering unless the entire market completely falls apart. uh, then you're doing this for two different things, Perk. Ripping boxes, you're in this for fun. If you're in it for making money, then you shouldn't rip boxes. So it depends on why are you in the game? That's the first question everyone should ask themselves. Why are they doing this? Are you in it for more of an investment perspective that you're looking to actually make money out of this? Or are you in it because you want to gamble and rip? And if you're in it to gamble and rip, that is perfectly fine. But 9 times out of 10, you are going to lose money. That is why I don't buy in the breaks. I have never bought into a break in my entire life. Nicholas T, I answered your question about breaking without even realizing that you asked it. No, I have never bought into a break at all. I love PSA 9s. Yes, I typically try to stick to 9s and 10s PSA, but I will not shy away from a BGS 9.5 if it's a good deal. I still think Giannis is a pretty safe investment. I think the Greek Freak is a pretty safe investment. I think people are sleeping on him. His market's been basically flat this entire year. I still love his hoops rookies for the prices that they're going for. Yeah, I actually got two of them. There's two of them sitting there of the Topps 2008. I've wanted this card forever. And just a few weeks ago, I was, the LeBron stuff was going crazy right after Christmas. And I really wanted to try to get a low grade Topps Chrome. This was when PSA 7s were going for like 3K. And I missed the window. And I always wanted a chalk toss. So I finally pulled the trigger. They're PSA 9s. I bought both of them for sub $200. And by the time they got to me, they had jumped to $400. Like in the 5 days it took to ship them to me. And now it's like over a $500 card or right at $500 card. I actually thought about selling one since I have two, because I could literally sell one, have the other one for free, and make $100. So I really need to look into selling one of those. I just don't like the gamble of breaking. I am not in this to gamble. If I want to gamble, I'll go to the casino. Though, I mean, really anything in this is gambling because you're taking a risk on buying a player, but I will stick with buying singles. SGC just promised the world and then didn't deliver at all. I've snapped some stuff. I would go watch, Paul. I would go watch specific videos on what you are looking to snap. There's tons of them on YouTube. That is very true. You do have better shots at making money in non-basketball boxes. I don't know why Star Stock A's cost them more than PSA 9s. That's why I sell Star Stock A's and buy PSA 9s. And that's pulled back some. Star Stock A prices come way down. I mean, I think HGA and CSG could make a play to be relevant, but I'm just waiting to see. I'm not trusting. I'm not getting caught up in the hype again. I do not have any other channels. Sorry, Derek. No, I am not going to the Dallas Card Show in March. That's a little bit too long of a hike for me because I'd have to fly there. I am loosely planning on the National, though, because that's an easy drive. Red Sox Nader with a limited budget. If you're just starting out, I would honestly, right now, and I've heard multiple other people say this. Lou mentioned this recently from the Card Talk Pod, and I 100% agree with him. I would learn the star stock market, and I would start there and cut your teeth on star stock, like basically day trading and flipping. You could lose your ass if you don't pay attention. Um, but just do your research and make smart plays on star stock, and you can grow your bankroll very quickly on there. I wouldn't even send them any cards. Like I said, I started with 25 bucks on star stock, and I've run that up to like 2 to 3 grand on my star stock account. PSA 9 to 10 pricing really depends on the card and the sport. It really varies. The main Carnage card that you want is 93 Marvel Universe, or I think 92 or 93 Modern Masters, or Marvel Masterpieces, rather. Sorry for the misspeak there. I forget what year he has a card in, but one of those one of the masterpieces he has a card in, either that or 93 MU. 93 is his first year that he's in Marvel Universe. I was big on SGC at the beginning and I got burned. I learned my lesson, Franco. My oldest slabbed card. So hold on a second because I got it right here somewhere. Where is it? I graded these in high school. So I self graded these myself back in the day, sent them off to PSA. 1990 Fleer, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sammy Sosa at the tender age of 16 or 17. These went off to the good old PSA in old school PSA slabs. Pretty worthless. I mean, they're not worthless, but they're not worth much. They weren't really worth much at the time. I don't know what I was thinking grading these two particular cards, but when you're 16 or 17 and you don't really understand what the hell you're doing, this is the type of stuff that you do, especially back then. There was no internet. You're just kind of figuring out. Me and my friend from high school sent off some cards for PSA grading. These are the two that I sent. I don't remember what he sent. So very low serial numbers on them. But yeah, those were probably graded in 97, I would bet. 97 or 98. Marvel Universe 90 is a rough one, man. I mean, I put that video up this morning. I am not big on the LeBron first year Lakers nonsense. People should have learned their lesson from that last year. I mean, if you got some like super limited thing, it's a different story. But base Prism, I would move in and out of that as quickly as possible. I mean, yeah, Star Stock A has a 92% chance to be a PSA 9, but what percent chance does it actually have to be a 10? Because if it's like a 60 to 70% chance to be a 9, and now you're tacking a $30 grading fee on top of it for it to come back a PSA 9, which on Star Stock sells for less than a Star Stock A, then you're not really coming out ahead on that equation. There is a number there, like there's a math equation you could probably run on that and figure out exactly what a star stock A should be compared to a PSA 9. But my general theory has been I will gladly sell star stock A's for a profit and buy PSA 9s with it, or just save up and buy 10s. Did that really just happen, Kyle? The Tatis thing? Yes, it did. Holy smokes. Wow. Um, I'm gonna bet his cards go on a run with that news. That is a crazy contract. Wow, that is nuts. I think CGC has one of the ugliest slabs I've ever seen in my life. I don't care which one's better than the other, Tim. I care which one sells for the most. So PSA. I mean, I'm not like I talk about PSA all the time because it's the one that demands the most and it's the most liquid. If BGS took back over again, I would absolutely send all my cards to BGS to be graded. I'm not some like holier than now stuck on one grading company or the other, but I'm also not gonna fight the market. Like I'm not gonna be the people on the SGC Facebook pages that get mad because their stuff sells for that get mad at people for selling SGC slabs for 40% off a PSA 10. I mean, the market's the market. You can't just force it to be different just because you list your cards at a higher price. If SGC passed up PSA, I would start sending stuff to SGC again. I'm not going to be blindly brand loyal for no reason when all the data tells me that this is the one that's the most liquid and pulls the most value. I'm not huge on a lot of second year Prism stuff. I think it's fine to get in and get out of, like for 2019 Luca Prism. Um, but I don't know that I love it long term. The green for CGC will hold it back, and that big ass number up at the top. It just looks terrible. Yeah, it's CSG for sports cards, CGC for. I like the look and the feel of the BGS slab. I like the fact that they used a little thing in it. I hate their grading scale though. I hate 9.5s. That's the reason why CSG were idiots, I think, for making a 9.5 grading scale as well. Like the market's already proven that they don't want the BGS grading scale. Why would you launch a new grading company and follow the BGS grading scale? Like I understand some people like the subgrades, but overwhelmingly the market has shown that it doesn't care about the subgrades because PSA 10s are the market leader by a mile. The Chrome cards turning green was a thing of the early 90s. They basically didn't know what the hell they were doing. I forget the specific like science reason of it, but basically the older Chrome cards weren't made correctly and they turned green. But I don't remember the science on it specifically. I know sunlight makes it worse. So if you have some, keep them in the dark. You can like SGC better all you want for PC, but if you're in this game to sell, then it doesn't make any sense to use SGC. It just depends what you're in it for. There's no wrong answer. SP123 just gut, just players that I like versus players that I don't. It's as simple as that. That's why you should know what you invest slash collect. I know the NBA. I watch more NBA than any other sports, so that's where most of my focus is. Because they're popular and liquid, Franco. I think watch my NBA video tomorrow. I talk about I think when the money shifts back. I don't want to spoil tomorrow's video too much, but I think when the money shifts back to modern NBA, it's going to move back to lower pop count stuff. Not that Prism's going to be dead or anything, but everyone says PSA is better. I mean, watch literally 99% of content creators. Go find me the one that's out there touting BGS. I do think there's going to be a second wave of Marvel hype. I mean, I don't know that the current prices hold as more as more cards filter back in. Um, but I think the Marvel stuff still has some legs for sure. I don't want to spoil anything, but I still think the Marvel stuff's got some juice in it. I just don't follow soccer at all, so I'm not even going to touch soccer questions. Sorry, guys. All right, guys, I got to wrap up soon. So if anyone has any last minute questions in, I will get to them as best that I can. But I do need to get moving here pretty quickly. I just wanted to hop on for 30, 40 minutes and kind of knock one of these out. No, I love podcasts, not really, and the ones that out aren't the ones that are out there aren't great. There's a reason why they're free. If you are taking sports cards seriously, you need to invest in a tool of some sort. Whether you want to use market movers or not, I get that it's super expensive. It's not for everybody, but there are other ones out there that are cheaper. Um, Go check out Card Hedger if you're looking for something lower end. I prefer market movers. I think it's the best. I think it has the best set of tools available. That's the reason why I use it. I pay out of pocket for it. But it's not for everyone because Market Movers Pro is $50 a month, and that's a lot depending on what you're doing. Step Back Sports Cards on YouTube does a lot of card hedger stuff if you want to check that product out. I don't know anything about WNBA cards. I don't know what you mean by paper greater than Don. Like, which one's better? Donruss and Hoops usually end up pretty close to each other when it comes to comps. I don't know anything about hockey other than I've been to some hockey games. I am in Northeast Ohio, just like the name of the YouTube channel says. Market Movers updates every day, Derek. Market Movers updates every morning, so it's fine for me. I'm strictly basically sticking with Marvel Universe 1990 Series 1 for the most part, other than some key cards out of other sets. I do like Series 2 because that's the one I grew up on. Um, but I think really any key Avenger character or Spider-Man out of pretty much any year can do okay. But I'm not going crazy. I'm not chasing like every Marvel set in the world because I think that gets dangerous. Remember, guys, the Marvel market is really unproven. No one knows what's going to happen. It's extremely risky. So just make sure you do your homework and don't go chasing too deep down the Marvel rabbit hole because it could blow up in your face just as much as it pans out. We don't know. It's completely uncharted waters. More competition in the grading market regarding CGC is always good. SGC, even though I'm not a big fan of them, put pressure on PSA to make some changes. So, thank you, Real Money 818. Oh, I see what you're saying, Derek. Yeah, I mean it's a limited set of. I mean it's not a limited set. They have a ton of cards on there, but it's mostly modern stuff, and it's mostly basketball, baseball, and football, and it's not a lot of super low pop count stuff. So I see what you're saying. I thought you meant in terms of like the data updating, but you could submit a request to add a card to the permanent charts. They've been working through the backlog, and supposedly there's some stuff coming with them getting more cards onto the tool as much as possible. That is very true, Mike. Okay, you could not buy everything. Pick your targets. If it had, depending on the scratch, Devin, you'd be lucky for a 9. Perk, I prefer Pro. There's just too many good tools for Pro, like the price movement by card chart and stuff. And I like, not even though all the cards aren't in a database, I like the My Collection tool because it updates all the prices automatically. I just don't have time to manage a spreadsheet. I need it all done automatically. The Deadpool rookie card thing's a really weird situation. I kind of touched on it earlier because you have the X-Force card, you have the 92 X-Men card, and then technically there's like an 89 or 90 Comic Images X-Force box that's floating around out there that predates all of them. So it's really, if the Marvel market truly has legs, the market will decide which one it wants. I am on IG. I don't have it listed anywhere because I rarely look at IG. I'm too old for IG. I don't understand it. I mean, I'm not big on the art for 92 Marvel Masterpieces. I understand why a lot of people are, but I grew up on Marvel Universe, so that's what I've kind of focused on. I do not have a card shop, Dave. I'm just a guy in his basement yelling at a microphone. Very good practice, Derek, if you could stick to it. Big Z deserves lots of hobby love. Lamar is perfectly viable to buy now, sit and hold and sell, but I wouldn't carry football in the August or into the season rather. All right, guys, I am going to bounce. I have a early wake up call tomorrow morning. I just wanted to hop on for 30-40 minutes and knock out some questions. NBA video dropping tomorrow. Just general market talk NBA video tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Friday is an official Marvel PSA submission video for the stuff from today's video that actually got. I go through what I actually decided to send and how and what price levels, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I'm out of here, boys. We will see, and girls, we will see you guys later, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.